Province is one of the smaller maps in World of Tanks. It can also only be seen from tiers 4 to 7. Outside of that, you will never see this map. I'll be speaking about hot zones and showing you where to go with each different class. If that sounds good to you, then let's begin. So let's go through, first of all, where the main locations are and how the map will usually play out on Province. Now, the first thing you're probably going to notice is that the cap circles are actually down the bottom of this map, rather than where you spawn at the very start. This is very useful to actually notice because when you are defending the base, this opens up a lot more opportunities for defense rather than them being up here and you don't really have many options. But now moving on to the site-specific areas, and for the southern spawn, they'll want to try and get across here, go up and around into this area. Now, this area right here is very, very powerful. And the reason why is because a lot of the enemy are actually going to be over this side, which means that you have free shots on anybody that is peeking around this area, which if you are at the very top here, which I will show you later on, it's a very, very powerful position with bushes that you can then sit behind, and also over this side as well. It gives you a lot of opportunity to snipe them as they are trying to defend their base. Or more so trying to defend their side of the map, because remember, their base is actually down here. So this area is super, super common for people to sit in. And you will see people go straight up here, up into the little ridgeline or up into the little mound area, and then start to snipe across. If you don't want to cross and go over that side of the map, then the alternative would be to sit around here. And this area will give you lots and lots of cover, but it's also quite hard to get out of. Because you see on this map, there's lots and lots of little places where there is no cover in between. So if you do get overrun in this area, you will then get shot by everybody that's over the other side of the map. And they can see very, very clearly across to you. The exact same thing kind of goes for this side of the map, where you will be able to defend yourself if they are pushing forwards, the exact same way as the northern side will have as well. And speaking about the northern side, the exact same kind of thing applies, but for the opposite side of the map. So you will spawn up here, and if you want to go ahead and cross, you'll go up to here and then up into this area. And again, you have a very, very good position up here where you'll be able to get high and see lots and lots of enemies and easily shoot them as well. You also have a way around this side exactly the same way as you would on the other side of the map. And of course, if you don't want to cross, then you will go straight into this area, which we've already highlighted. And of course, the same thing applies where if you are on this side of the map, you can get shot through lots of little nooks and crannies that you may be able to see through. And obviously, from the other side of the map, you will be able to see them. However, there is one more place that the northern side gets, and that is this position right here. And it is quite powerful. However, with great power comes death, usually. Because once you do shoot from this location, it's very, very common that then someone will see you and then you just die, because this is pretty open. Yes, there is a wall there, and yes, you can hide behind a lot of things and pull back to safety. However, you will get spotted usually by a light tank, which will move into their positions later on. So this is how the game usually ends up. Let's now move into class-specific positions to truly get you situated on this map. Starting things out with the light tanks. Now, the first position I'm going to show you is this one at F4. Now, this position will give you plenty of opportunity to actually spot the crossing as they come down from the other side of the map. Remember, people will love to cross and go into the C3 area, so straight away, if you can get here fast enough, you'll be able to spot some people crossing. Remember, there's a nice open gap here, and also if they are dumb enough to go a little bit too close, you should also spot them. There are a few things that you need to take into consideration though with this map, and that is obviously that for light tanks especially, even though this map is small, the tier is also very low. So if you are a true scout, and by that I mean if you're playing this at tier 4, there's quite a few light tanks that are not really light tanks, but if you are playing this at tier 6, something like a Type 64, something like that, then obviously this will be fine. You know, deck out your equipment with optics, binos, whatever you feel confident with, and as long as you have around about, how far away is that? Around about 350 meters plus view range, you should be able to spot people. Ideally, you're on around about 400 to 445, then that would be perfect, but if not, around about 350 and you should be okay. But from this position, you have plenty of cover, you have plenty of bush line right here as well, which if you do get spotted, you can either just go all the way back to behind this house, depending on how far away you are, but also if you get spotted and you know that you're not going to be able to make it out, they just hide behind this rock right here. So there's plenty of places that you can go. However, if you do get spotted and you're then going to get perma-spotted, it can be quite annoying. Because if you get spotted and then you hide behind this, obviously anybody that is up the top here will be able to shoot you. All they have to do is come through a little bit and then they'll be able to shoot you from there. And also if you don't have brilliant camo or you're not in the bush fully, and by that I mean, let's say that you are like this in the bush where you are still being able to spot, however the rear end of your tank is out and someone comes up there, you will get spotted. So you need to keep that in mind. Always go fully into the bush and make sure that if you do have camera and binos, they're fully activated. Now there are obviously 2 bushes to our left right here, but I would not recommend you go into them. I would always recommend you stay around this square in F4 and it will be fine. From here you can spot pretty much everyone. Remember that very, very annoying spot that I said about earlier? If someone is in there and they start shooting, you will be able to spot them. Remember, this is not very far away. This is only 326 meters. So if they start shooting and you have 400 meters, you should be able to spot them. The exact same thing is if they go to the left, you'll be able to spot them, even if they don't shoot usually. Now for the opposite side of the map, it's not so clear cut. There are 2 positions that I would recommend, and it really depends on the tank that you're in. The first one being D7/D6, and also E6. And now to show you what I mean, these are the 2 positions. You have the bush at D6, which is good, but not really very good for spotting the cross because you have these bushes in the way. So you can only really spot the opposite side of the map, or maybe if someone's coming down from here or down from here. If the enemy light tank is coming down from there, unfortunately, this being tier 6, I doubt that you'll actually be able to get here fast enough, activate binos, and then spot them as they're coming down. And because of how this ridgeline is, maybe you may spot them as they cross there. But beyond that, I don't think you're getting any spotting on them. So this position is only really very good if you have good view range and you'll be able to spot people that may be at the back here or anybody in this kind of area around here. So this position, although it's safer, yes, and as soon as you get spotted, you can just pull back behind this rock and you are pretty much completely safe, apart from maybe if someone goes up there. But even then, if they're going to go up there, they'll probably get spotted and then you will get assistance or your team will shoot them. But this is not a great position for spotting the cross. You can, however, go out a little bit like this, and then you are still somewhat covered and you're able to spot the crossing. But again, I don't really like this style of play where it's a little bit too open for my liking. And obviously, alternatively, you could go across to here, and this bush is very, very powerful, yes, but it's not great once you get spotted. Because yes, you can sit here and you will spot absolutely everything. Anybody that is crossing this, you will spot. Anybody that goes into this bush, you will spot. Anyone up there, absolutely everyone on the map, you will spot. Apart from the fact that when you get spotted, you're probably dead. Because as soon as you need to go back behind this rock, it is not as safe as the other side. And if someone is over this side or up there, you are definitely going to die. Let's now move on to the medium tanks after a quick change of clothes and then a brand new day. Now the problem with the medium tank's positions is that it can kind of go into any class for these positions that I'm going to show you. Because obviously what you want to do is go across and get to the other side of the map, as we've already suggested. And that goes for both the southern side and the northern side. Now, if you wanted to be a little less aggressive and you're more of a sniper medium tank, then of course you could provide cover for your team by just sitting around this location right here. As you can see, anywhere around here, just find some cover that you're not going to be kind of exposed from if things do go badly, and you can easily retreat from, but enough where you can actually help your team out. And the same thing goes for the other side of the map. You could start off by sniping in that little position that we've talked about already, or alternatively, just a bit further back, allowing yourself to help your team out. But let's now go into the game, and I'm going to show you this position around here and also the enemy side, which is going to be around here. So these 2 locations right here and right here. The sniper locations that I showed you just now will be in game that I'll show you in a second, but they will be with the tank destroyers. So just keep that in mind, that if you are playing a sniper medium tank, you can go where the tank destroyers usually go. So as we've already mentioned, you'll want to be crossing this. Now, ideally, you would want to go as far back as possible so you don't get easily spotted from from people that are in the spotting bush. Remember, if they are in the bush where I showed you, which is a little bit more of the dangerous bush, you will still get spotted as you cross there. However, you just have to wait here for a few seconds, get unspotted, and then continue on. There are positions around here that I've already mentioned that you can snipe across from, and also be very annoying to the light tank as well, which is from up here. However, there is the wall here, which means that you're going to have to go a little bit further up, which actually acts in your benefit though as well, because of the fact that you're then taking cover behind it. So if you do have a tank that has a little bit of a bouncy turret, that can work out as well. Something like maybe a Comet or such. Anyway, as we progress up to here and we move on to the main spot, which I was talking about, which is going to be the J7 to 9 line, you can see from here, there's plenty of kind of hold down locations over here where you can then just choose to shoot from. So again, if you are in a bouncy turret, this is very, very beneficial. Or, alternatively, if you do have a tank that is very, very sneaky, then you could go into this bush, as long as it just as you can see through it, and then back off as well. But just as you can see through it, just sit about here, and you shouldn't get spotted in return unless they have a lot of view range. So keep that in mind as well. But the main thing that you're probably going to want to do is just stay down low so that you don't get spotted until maybe about here. Depending on how tall your tank is, you may get spotted, but that's still way too late. And people will already be around all the way up here, where you can then get into position to shoot the enemy that is further down this area. As you can see from up here, you have plenty of opportunity to shoot anybody. Anyone on that corner, you'll be able to shoot. Anyone on these corners of the houses, you'll be able to shoot. Maybe not this one, but if they're a little bit further out, then you can. And anyone in this bush trying to side scrape for whatever reason, or alternatively right here. Now when you go around this side, you are also greeted with a lovely bush here, which you can again use to go into, spot what you need to spot, and then back off again, and then shoot through it without getting detected. This is a very, very powerful position for here, because if there's anybody in this area, you have easy shots on them as well. So either one, depending on how the gameplay is playing, or the game is playing out, then you can go to each spot. Now for the opposite side of the map, again, you want to go as far wide as you possibly can to avoid trying to get detected, and then you want to go up this way, and if you want to or need to, then you can try and deal with the light tank as well. If for whatever reason they are a little bit out of position, you'll be able to shoot them from up here. However, you don't get the super good ball that you would get on the other side, so be careful of that. But if you do need to deal with them for whatever reason, then you can go to this one. And to be honest, you're pretty well covered from actually doing this, because the only thing that can really shoot you is people over this side, maybe up there. But if you just go a little bit further back and just only show the tiny amount of your tank, then you'll be able to deal with the light tank that's sitting into that bush, no issues at all. The only thing that you need to be watching out for is people that come and YOLO you down here. But you'll be able to see that coming, at least hopefully. But now as we move further up, you'll be able to see the different positions that you can get to. As you can see, again, you have some nice hold down positions, the exact same kind of, not aesthetic, but I was going to say kind of layout that you would have on the other side on the J line, you have here on the C line. So you need to watch out for this though, because this is actually a little hold down that they can actually sit behind. So if the tank is low profile enough and can hide its lower plate, then you could be in for a little bit of a hard time to dig him out. However, you can go all the way back here, as you can see, and as long as you just hug low all the way down, you'll only get spotted. Well, you might not even get spotted at all, depending on how tall your tank is, again, but you can go all the way up here. And then from here, you will have great vision on anybody. One, that is sitting on that hold down, because you're above them and you can easily shoot down onto them. And two, you also have the ability to go around, just like you do on the other side of the map, where you can then have even better shots on different people. So you can go up from here, and then anybody at the very back of the map, you will be able to shoot as well. You need to be a little bit more careful about this side, because you don't have loads of room, and if there's a few tanks here as well, it's going to be very, very hard for you to go and spot through the bush and then back off behind the bush and still shoot. Especially with this little lip here, you're going to have to be very, very careful indeed. And probably needing a little bit more gun depression than what my CS63 has, although it's not exactly meant for this map, is it? Now, one thing to note is that you can get down off of here if you've fully won the flank, and you can go down here. However, If you do that, you are opening yourself up to anybody that is sitting over here as you progress down. So you could get shot very, very easily as you push down here, and then you're not in for a very good time. So you can't get back up there unless you're in something very, very fast, and even then, I don't think that's even possible. So if you do want to get back up, you're going to have to go all the way around. Now speaking about tank destroyers, and we've already touched base on where they go. They will go roughly around about here, depending on what position is available to you, and also depending on how many players are there. And then the same thing will go for the other side of the map. Obviously, this area is a very good starting off point at D7, and then you can also play around here to help your team out. So starting out with the southern side of the map, and there are plenty of positions to choose from. Practically anywhere around here that has bushes, you can go and sit in with your tank destroyer. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to show you all of them, but from this location or these locations, you can easily see across the other side of the map. You can easily see anywhere that you may be able to help your team out as their team is camping or your team is pushing up. And you can also see if the enemy team do start to push, you'll be able to shoot them as they cross. So if they're trying to get down and around here, which is the only real way of actually them crossing without going all the way down along the road that leads downwards as well, which you can shoot. So no matter where they go, you'll be able to have shots on them. So this map is very, very well catered towards tank destroyers, and it's almost too hard to actually cross over into the enemy base if there's more than enough tank destroyers on the enemy team. So just keep that in mind. You, as a tank destroyer, you have this map and you can just lock it down completely. And one more thing that I do want to mention, and this will be shown on the other side of the map as well. If you do start losing over this side, you have all of this bush area for you to go back into. So you can go and hide behind this rock or that rock and just be able to shoot people as they're crossing or pushing up. So even if you start losing this flank, it's not completely over, because as long as you have someone spotting, you'll be able to go there unspotted. You could go all the way to the back of the bushes. You will never get spotted after you shoot, and then you can just kill anybody that pushes through. And from the other side of the map, you obviously have this location that we have spoken about quite a few times now. But from here, straight away, you'll be able to shoot the crossing. Easy shots across. I mean, you can shoot, obviously, the crossing from up there as well. But it's a little bit not as easy to take cover from. So whereas with this, if you start getting shot at or anything, you just pull back and then you're behind cover. You only need to come back to about this location and then you're completely safe, because your team should be pushed up over the other side of the map. The only thing that you really need to worry about with this is that you don't go too far forwards, because if you go too far forwards, you can get spotted very easily. Whereas if you just stay a little bit further back, as long as you can have a decent location where you can actually look over and shoot. Remember, if this is a little bit hard for you, maybe you're a new player and you don't quite know where it is, for the crossing, then just go forwards a little bit so you can see through the bush, then back off, and then you'll be able to know roughly the line that you're going to need to maintain to shoot across there. So just stay back a little bit, and then these bushes should help you out. But from here, obviously, you can shoot across. You have these bushes covering you as well. But again, if you do need to, go through, have a little look, and then pull back, and then you can shoot across to the other side of the map for any tank destroyers or whatever there may be over that side. And then the other location that you can use is anywhere along here. You have plenty of houses to take cover from people that are up there. So yes, although you are very exposed down here to people that may be sitting up here, remember this bush is where they will shoot you from. And also that bush at the very back right here is the other one where they'll shoot you from. So if you want to shoot that bush, what I'd recommend is that you can go along to here, and then as they shoot, you'll be able to shoot back from here. And then you can quickly peek back into cover and hide. The only thing that you need to worry about, obviously, other side of the map. If you're shooting and you get spotted, they will be able to see you, because everywhere on this map is basically within render range. So just take that into consideration. If you get spotted, practically everyone can see you. I wouldn't recommend that you go any further forwards than this house here, because it gets a little bit too hard to fall back from. However, if you are going to be playing from this position here, what I'd recommend you do is make sure you hug this wall, because if you go too far back, the enemy will shoot you from up there, and if you go too far forwards, then what can happen is that everybody will have to shoot you from this side or here, and you need to really make sure that you're winning this area, otherwise it doesn't really work from this position. So what I'd recommend is that most people will stay behind around about here and not go all the way up close to this house, because from here you're relatively safe from this, as long as you keep in mind you don't go too far forwards, too far back, sorry. And then you can just go in line like this, keeping a distance as well from there, and then you'll be able to see across the other side of the map like this, and you are safe from that one, and then all you need to do is just shoot people that are over the other side of the map. So either hug the wall or come very far away from the wall. Now for the heavy tanks, there's not too many places you can really go that I haven't already shown. If you are a very fast heavy tank, then I would recommend that you go up around here and support your medium tanks. You can go hold down on the little ridgelines that we've already shown you and just be a very annoying tank to deal with for the enemy team. Alternatively, you could push into this location up in E3, E2 area, into the courtyard, and play around there with the hold down that I've already mentioned as well. But if you don't want to go that far, you could play a little bit more conservatively at F2 to help out your team. Again, roughly where the tank destroyers and medium tanks may support you from. The other side of the map, you kind of just repeat the process. You can go up here and support your medium tanks, or you could push all the way up and try and be very annoying over in this location in the 8-9 line between F and G. So starting out the southern side, obviously I have already showed you the medium tank location, which you could go to in your heavy tanks. Now, the other one is obviously over here, where we can play behind this rock and support anybody that has pushed up. Just because you are a heavy tank doesn't mean that you need to push all the way up and be super aggressive. Again, showing you this location. And you can go all the way into the courtyard, which you are relatively safe from the other side of the map, because there's nowhere here that you can actually get shot from. So the only thing that you really need to worry about is obviously people up here. And if you go all the way to this hole down, people all the way over there as well if they want to push over or push around to there. But this location is super powerful for stopping people from playing around here and pushing up. And also you can then just back off as far away as you like. This still gives you a nice hold down, and you can play from around about here without too many issues, because that is then being out of the way, and you can just fight anybody that are playing here. And if you need to, just go out a little bit more and then fight people around there. So you can easily alter your kind of angle of engagement to suit your needs. Yeah, the only thing that you really need to worry about is when you go a bit further back and then you expose yourself to here, because everybody over the other side of the map will be able to shoot you, including the tank control positions over there, there, wherever they might be. They'll easily just be able to kill you and shoot you from the other side of the map. So you only really want to push into this if you know that you have a lot of support behind you. And even then, if they do start pushing you, you're probably just going to die. So this is fine to push into, but just make sure you have players with you. And for the other side of the map, we have obviously these positions around here where you could fall back to if need be, but ideally you want to go all the way up with your heavy tanks and play somewhat around about here, because from this position you can, one, side scrape up, and to anybody that is sitting up here, you'll be able to return fire at. So if you are in a side scraping tank, you can make that possible. And two, you can then side scrape from this corner as well, and anybody that has pushed up far enough to this house, you will then be able to deal with as well. So the only thing that you really need to be worried about is people shooting you from across there. However, you would have to lose the other side of the map. So not too worrying, to be honest with you. And you could even push into this area to then give you a better chance of survival, and also then be very annoying to anybody up here, because you can just perma side scrape right there. And you won't really have to worry about anything. And if there's nobody up there, you know for a fact that nobody is up on this location, then what you can do is just use this to your advantage and to start shooting across to the other side of the map. Very useful, although you need to make sure nobody is up there, otherwise it won't work at all. The other thing you can do is push all the way across, and bearing in mind the only one that you need to watch out for is this location here as you're crossing, because if there are people that are camping over here, then as you cross for this point, you can get shot across. But once you are across, you can either play again, side scraping on this corner up to there, or side scraping on this corner to then help out anybody that is here. And there is a nice little hold down as well. So if need be, you can push all the way up to this. However, if you push all the way up to this, if there is anybody that is sitting on there, that little hill, which is unlikely, but it could happen. So people could move to try and get a position to shoot you. Then you will get shot. So I wouldn't go all the way up to this. I'd move back a little bit and just play from around about here. You'll still be hold down because that wall is tall enough to be able to prevent them from shooting your lower plate. Alternatively, obviously, the other side, this is not as good, even though that there's a wall here to protect you from that over there. The thing is, this is not great because you can side scrape for this, yes, but that's it. You're then kind of just stuck there because if there's anybody up there and they go back behind the bushes, you're then just at their mercy for whenever they want to shoot you. And then that as well. So I'd recommend you always stay on the left-hand side. Don't go into this because this is a sure way of just getting yourself killed because you won't be able to escape from it. And finally, for the artillery, you go to D1. So hopefully this map guide was helpful and you did enjoy it. Let me know your comments down below. If you do want to support me further, I have Patreon where you can vote for different map guides that may be produced and also just for different videos in general. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate you all just for tuning in and watching my videos, and I'll see you all in the next one.